Hi.
Welcome back, everyone.
Yeah. Welcome to Magickal Witchy World TV. Again, I am Starr Ravenhawk, and
A- And I am Rhonda Allen. Welcome back, everyone. This week, we're going
yeah,
to switch things around a little bit. Our guest, Kenya T. Coviak, is working on the technology. She has a couple of technology things going on. Connectivity issues are a thing right now. The area she lives in had gone through some pretty serious
big
storms
storm.
the
Yeah.
past week, ice storms, and connectivity is still a little challenging. So tonight we're going to start with our astrology and tarot and give Kenya a little more time to get on board. So before we get started,
Yes.
let me just share with you our astrology time video.
Wow. So, as promised, the last time I said we're going to kind of get more into what the Saturn return is. So, we're going to do that with you guys and then take you through to the end where we're going to have you learn how to do your own personal charting for it. So, it will help you kind of better guide you and things like that. It will help you with some free places that you can get the calculations done and everything on your birth chart or natal chart, however you want to call it, all of those things. So hope you guys enjoy it. Okay. So basically, I'm gonna kind of go into what is a Saturn return, and basically, every single celestial body tracked in the astrology has its own orbit that crosses through all 12 zodiac signs in the map of the skies. For instance, it takes the moon approximately 28 days to move through its orbit around Earth and across the zodiac, whereas it takes Venus 225 days, Mars also almost, 2 years, and outer planets, those on the far side of the asteroid belt like Jupiter, Saturn, and Uranus, even longer. So the amount of time it takes a planet to orbit and return to the place it occupied in your birth chart, aka an exact snapshot of the sky on the date, place, and time that you were born, which means it lands in the same place in the sky it did when you were born, roughly around the time you turn around 29.5 years old, 29 to 30 years old. And that is referred to as a return. So a Saturn return occurs approximately every 27 to 29.5 years, which is the duration of the Saturn's orbit around the sun. That means this is how long it takes this transit for Saturn to travel through all 12 signs. Consequentially, you can expect this potentially turbulent time to fall between again, as I said, between your ages of 27 to 30, then the second one between 56 to 60, and then the third one 84 to 90, depending on your birthday, and will stay there for approximately 2.5 to 3 years. And essentially, a person crosses over a major threshold and enters the next stage of their life when this happens during a return. It's the cosmic exit out of your current situation and into something more beautiful. So when you're going through your Saturn return, you're experiencing how you're evolving and transforming with time itself. It's associated with major life changes like, career changes, breakups, engagements, and relocations. It's a lot, we know, but in a good way, I promise. There's also, marriages, people getting married. So that's a happy time, right? Divorces, career breakthroughs, retirement, maybe, depending on when it is, if it's the third return. So look back on your life and you may find that some of its most powerful impacts of any event that happened coincided with your Saturn return. And because it is a very potent astrological transit. So the Saturn return is nicknamed, or rather, Saturn is nicknamed the teacher of the zodiac. Saturn represents discipline and maturity, bringing typically Saturnian lessons along with it. So, what's the importance of your Saturn return in astrology? Nothing about Saturn is casual, just so you know. The proverbial daddy of the zodiac and sixth planet from the sun is astrologically associated with time, regulations, and boundaries. So, on a good day, it symbolizes hard work and long term accolades and incomparable resolve. meaning perseverance and everything. On the bad days, it's harsh, critical, and unforgiving. The planet abides by a tough love approach, demanding we learn lessons just in the hard way, because it wants you to kind of realize that how consequential it is in your life. But that's because Saturn is the cosmic taskmaster, the demanding teacher who presents you with obstacles and challenges so you can gain strength and wisdom from it. Saturn's position in your birth chart reveals your major life lessons as well as the fears that you have to overcome to achieve that success. So what about you, Rhonda?
Right. So continuing along, Saturn also represents what's important to you. And shows the goals you are here to pursue based on your values. When your actions, especially your work in the world, are aligned with your inner Saturn, you experience a sense of integrity and satisfaction. When you're out of alignment, you feel Saturn's shadow, restriction, lack of, and fear. So don't think that you're too old to take your work in a new direction or even go back to school for training in an entirely different field. Saturn rules longevity and old age and wants you to imagine yourself at age 80, looking back on your life. What do you want to have accomplished? What will you regret not doing because you were afraid to take a risk? Big questions. Saturn wants you to pursue your calling and your passions, your calling and your passions. So if you're feeling stuck, depressed, frustrated, and or jealous of other people's success, then it's time for a change. If you ignore the signs and resist change, it may force you to do so. Excuse me. It may force you to face them anyway, similar to similar to resistance is futile. Whatever losses exactly. So whatever loss
I love that thing. I
yes,
love that.
resistance is futile. Taskmaster. So whatever losses you experience during that time will help you in the long run, compelling you to come to terms with your truth. Be willing to be humble and start small. If need be, volunteer your time or go back to school, full or part time. Saturn will reward your efforts for taking responsibility, face your fears, and let go of the past, and you will see major achievement. That said, Saturn teaches us that when the going gets tough, we can actually keep going. And that perseverance, that tenacity is actually incredibly empowering. Saturn demands that you take full and complete accountability for your choices, propelling major, albeit challenging, transformation. It's a make it or break it transit. If you're already in a partnership at the start of your Saturn return, the relationship will be tested. Asking to see growth and change asking to see growth and change it to survive. So you have to be willing to grow and to make whatever changes are necessary in order for it to survive. If the partnership survives it, it will achieve a deeper level of love and commitment. Honesty, flexibility, and a willingness to release old habits is an excuse me, to release old habits and create a more mature approach.
And that's important, right?
Yeah,
That's kind of, important
release.
there. So
Yeah.
what does Saturn represent in astrology? Saturn return has a reputation, again, as we said, for transforming people. Before your first Saturn return, you're kind of polished and coughed. And after, you kind of look tired or beat down because of all the ups and downs that you've gone through. But those ups and downs lead to a personal evolution,
Mhm.
forcing you to make decisions that will change your lives forever. As I was saying that part, I thought of, movies I've seen where the person left for the dance or the party is so nice looking. And then when they get back, they're like, phew, they're all mashed,
Yeah, a
makeup
wreck.
dropping and everything, So it's kind of funny. During a
Mhm.
Saturn return, it will affect you based on where or what house it's in. So you can check your natal or birth chart, which is it's the same thing, but some people call it natal and some people call it birth chart, either
Mhm.
one, to see what sign and what house you're in. where Saturn falls in. There are the 12 astrological houses, each which governs a sector of life. So the house indicates what you may be dealing with during the Saturn return. So it will kind of give you an idea of what you personally will be dealing with. Okay. So let's say your Saturn return is in your fourth house of home and family. In that case, your Saturn return may be about building roots, buying or selling a house, or questioning your notion of home. What is home? And the
Mhm.
10th house of public image may be about jobs. The seventh house may be about relationships. And will there be a commitment at all? The sign is important as well. For example, say your Saturn is in Virgo. On a bad day, Virgo is a critical sign. The lesson during your Saturn return might involve learning that you need to go a lot easier on yourself, which a lot of times we tend to be harder on ourselves than anybody else.
True.
Okay, so let's compare the three Saturn returns that's coming up. Prior to the Saturn return, we are a construction of external influences. We are living the lives imposed on us by our parents, our teachers, colleagues, and bosses, and society at large. When Saturn returns to its home base in your birth chart, it will inspire you to reevaluate every aspect of your life to ensure that we're fulfilling our greatest potential. Once your Saturn return is complete, we are totally
Mhm.
and completely prepared to live our best life, however you define that best life.
Yeah, yeah, important.
Yeah.
So that first return at the end of your 20s is meant to kickstart your adulthood. Because Saturn is the planet of responsibilities, time, and wisdom, basically your astrological coming of age, it gives you the push you need to enter true adulthood, leaving your youth behind and entering adulthood, at least on your first return. Saturn demands that you take full and complete accountability for your choices, propelling major, challenging transformation. It's something of a cosmic catch up or training montage meant to eject you from childhood complacency and into a new world of possibility. So, that second return, though, in your mid 50s, helps give your life and work a higher meaning. So, we're stepping it up. We're stepping up. You are seeing a maturity in who you are. Saturn has completed another 29-year journey around the sun. This can be a challenging period requiring big changes in work, relationships, and other areas of life. The second is typically less tumultuous than the first, though. That's a nicer thing, but still change. As you revisit themes from your first Saturn return, you now have the wisdom and experience of the past 29 years to draw on and are likely to have much greater clarity about who you are and what you want to accomplish. People often feel like they're finally free to do what they want, no longer trying to please or prove themselves to others. Zero fucks given. You are thinking of retirement, time to pursue a hobby or creative passion or a new career path altogether. And, we kind of get that, middle age crisis, which is a god awful phrase. But in any case,
Yeah.
it marks an initiation into the role of elder. The initiation beginning. This could mean taking a more active role in your community or mentoring or teaching the younger generation. That's why the second Saturn return can feel more dramatic than the first one. By then, you're likely more regimented and change can be challenging. Realization that you're in charge of your life. It's time to explore the things that you always wanted to do. And the third return in your 80s now focuses on what you wish to leave the world with when you go. This is your legacy. That's a time of reflection. Did I do it all? Do I have any regrets? So, this is that third return now. Reclaiming authority. Who is the author of your life in any area where you are feeling restriction, limitation, deprivation, or fear? Look to see how you have given away your power to someone or something outside of yourself. Saturn, the great teacher, shows you that the only way to experience happiness and freedom is to take full possession of yourself. That giving away your power can lead to dire consequences. So, reclaiming your authority will give you happiness and inner satisfaction. So, who's going through their Saturn return right now? Saturn entered Aquarius, the air sign associated with innovation, technology, and progress, way back in 2020. That fateful year that brought us, well, you know. Yeah. Anyone who has Saturn in Aquarius in their birth chart is currently experiencing their Saturn return right now. Those born between February 6, 1991 and May 20, 1993, along with June 29, 1993 and January 28, 1994, are going through their first Saturn return. While those born in the early 60s, specifically between January 3rd, 1962 and March 23rd, 1964, as well as September 16, 1964, and December 15, 1964, are experiencing their second Saturn return. And elders born in the early 1930s are going through the third.
These are the typical signs that someone is in the midst of a Saturn return. Okay, so some of you may want to hold on to situations that aren't working or don't want to take accountability for the fact that this is the right path for you. People can feel really stuck, especially when they're in their late 50s and are contemplating the next phase of their lives. A lot of it is just about fear of the unknown, fear of taking that next step. Am I doing the right thing? We are creatures of comfort. We're creatures of habit. So we have a tendency to kind of take things, we want to stay with what we know already. You know what I mean? So taking the step to evolve to that next phase of life is always kind of challenging. We're
Mhm.
used to what we used to because we've been doing it for 27 to 29 years. So we kind of want to, be that continued creature of habit. So if you're experiencing your Saturn return right now, here are some of the advice that we can give you. Breathe and don't be so hard on yourself. It's going to be fine. These are lessons that you're learning in how to be happier. Don't fight the
Mhm.
change. We get caught up in our comfort. There's something beautiful in taking the next step forward or leaping into something new. Also, learn to embrace your inner child. Saturn is a planet about growing up, but it's also a planet about understanding that the inner child needs to be loved as well. How
Mhm.
to figure out when exactly your return is. I want you guys to, this is for us, for anyone who wants to figure out when their exact return is. The charting that you would need is your birth chart, and you can look at see where in which house is ruled by Pisces for an understanding as to what areas of your life Saturn will be affecting you. For others, if you can grab that birth chart, look at which sign Saturn is in. When Saturn enters that sign again, you're beginning or you began your Saturn return. Like if you were born when Saturn was in Aquarius, that's from 1991 to 1994, you're going through your Saturn return right now. If you were born when Saturn was in Capricorn in 1988 to 1991, you went through your Saturn return from 2017 to 2020. And if you were born when Saturn was in Pisces in 1993 to 1996, you'll begin your Saturn return in 2023 this year. So to find out your exact Saturn return down to the actual day, you'll want to look up when Saturn will return to the exact degree it was in at when you were born. You'll need, again, like I said, your birth date, your birth time, if it's possible. I didn't have mine, so I just kind of guessed it as I went, and birth location, plus the city you live in right now or the city you lived in during your late 20s. And once you take that, and you will be able to chart it. And if Saturn is returning to the same degree multiple times, just so you know, it just means that Saturn retrograding
Mhm.
again and again, kind of a thing. So you might have some internal back and forth as you figure out what you want to look like in your astrological adulthood. So we will put on the screen for you guys the charting. I'll say it out also.
Mhm.
Um, let's see, the natal chart, astro.cafeastrology.com. natal. That will give you a free birth chart. You can also check out costarrastrology.com natal chart, and they have it as well.
Mhm.
And for the calculation for you to see going back where your Saturn came into Pisces each time of your return, or from when you were born. The one is let's see, horoscopes.astroseek.com Saturn return calculator, and that will calculate it for you. I did mine already. It's like it does it real quick. Once you put in the information, you hit the button, click, and it's all free, and it gives you your entire charting. So it's kind of cool. Okay, and that way you can kind of see it for yourself, see where in what house it
Mhm.
lands, and if you know where how it will affect you, how will Saturn play out in your life right now. um
Mhm.
so they'll give you everything that you need to work with. And you could some people kind of say, am I going to be okay with the Saturn return? Because we know Saturn plays a big role in our lives. Now, we can't deny that Saturn return is a big deal. When you're going through it, Saturn return can often manifest as breaking up, with your long term partner, or quitting what was once your dream job, or relocating to a new city where you're starting over from scratch. And, not everyone likes that. But you kind of get the idea of what goes on with that time. So it's pretty serious shit, but trust that
Mhm.
it's not all doom and gloom. Saturn return is actually an extremely prosperous time
Yeah.
where your hard work and resilience is rewarded fully and completely. On the other
Mhm.
side of all those stresses and obstacles, you'll finally experience a return on your investment, and that is always a worthwhile deal because it
Yeah.
does reward you in a big way. And the most important piece of advice for navigating your Saturn return: embrace it, trust the
Yeah.
process, do the scary thing and be brave about it. And any attempt to ignore Saturn's powerful nudges toward personal growth, again, consider the resistance, saying resistance is futile.
It's futile. Exactly. Resistance is
On the other
futile.
side, on the other side of your Saturn return, virtually everything in your life will be different. So why not enjoy the ride? Saturn reminds us that through real effort, patience, and practice, we can reap the most extraordinary, gratifying rewards in life.
Yes. It's
So, hey
fabulous.
man, go with it, embrace it.
It's a
So,
thing. Well,
yeah,
this is good stuff. This is a lot of
yeah,
really good information. And yes,
yeah.
we did switch the show around tonight, but we do have Kenya here. So
Well, she
here's
came in
our
finally,
yes,
yay!
she's
So
here. So
after
let's
after
go
we
ahead.
have Kenya in, we will do our tarot time pull of the card for you
Yeah,
guys. Um, to kind of break it down for you guys even further. Okay,
right.
awesome.
Here we
Yay,
go.
she's here.
Wait 1 second. Welcome, Kenya.
Yay, we're so
Hi,
happy to
hi,
see
I'm
you.
here.
We are
I'm here.
so happy to
You
see
made it. You
you.
made it. Awesome.
Well, I can't
I
believe
was
I am.
fighting for my life to get in
And
here.
you were
And you
fighting,
did,
right?
and
I
you
know,
did
I
it, and you
know.
did
But you were like,
it.
storm be damned. I'm going to beat it. Persevere.
Exactly, exactly. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so happy you persevered and got in, and we're really
Yeah,
grateful
yeah,
to
yeah.
have you here tonight. Before we begin, though, I am going to do my bio. I For some reason I feel like I froze up for a second, but I'm going to go ahead. I want to read your bio for everyone so everyone knows all we need to know before we begin our interview. So, Kenya Coviak is Detroit's pagan journalist, activist, magical teacher, family service worker, and the creator behind Detroit Conjure and Folk Magic Festival. Teaching engagements include ConVocation, Michigan Pagan Fest, Pagan Pride Day Detroit, Bluewater Pagan Conference, WitchCon, WitchsFest USA, and more. She serves as content editor, PBN News Network. Contributing writer credits include Peppermint and Sage Magazine, The Good Witch's Guide by Shawn Robbins and Charity Bedell, The Heart of the Elder, Good Elders and Their Influence by Lillith ThreeFeathers and Joy Marie Wedmedyk. I'm not going to say her name correct. Wedmedyk. Is that correct? And
You
PBN
did, you did.
News Network. Not so bad. We're going to scroll your websites later as well. But welcome, welcome,
Yeah,
Kenya,
we're
to the show.
so glad to have you here tonight with us, Kenya. We've been looking
Thank
forward
you.
to
Thank
this, right?
you.
This
Happy to be here.
conversation with you. Okay. So one of the first questions we wanted to kind of ask you, because we kind of realized that a lot of people call themselves different things or refer to themselves different names. Because as time goes by, we evolve and we change, because we all have changed how we call ourselves as we go by. So we wanted to kind of find out, how do you refer to yourselves? You know, or and what's changed over the years? Have you changed the reference to yourself or anything like that?
Okay, so I have always myself as a witch. You 7 Mile. Um, you not 8 Mile like the movie, 7.
Right.
But witch, I'm not talking about someone who is practicing New Forest initiatory craft. I'm not an Alexandrian.
Mhm.
I wouldn't claim to be a guardian. That's a long story. But
Okay.
I
That's
am an
okay.
initiated witch in a lineage. I do have a lineage. It's
Mhm.
not guardian, it's something else. But by that same token, if you were to look into my practice and look at the building on which I hang my studies, primarily we have connection. Primarily, I am a cunning woman in 90% of this.
Excellent.
Excellent. See, we learn a new name tonight, a cunning woman. You know what I
Yes,
mean? That's what
I
I
love
mean.
that.
Everybody refers to them as all these different names. That's awesome. Thank you.
So, and taking and just literally moving straight from that, what brought you to this practice? What brought this into your world? The cunning woman practice, the witch, how we're going to use cunning woman. What brought you to that? What brought you to that and made that a part of your world?
Which is a cunning woman if you practice magic. But
Right.
at the end of the day, okay, so how does the lie that everybody, let me see, what does the lie usually entail? My grandmother sat me down. No, that's not what happened. That is not what happened.
Right.
Here's what happened, right? So I wasn't raised with my birth family, okay? I was raised in a kinship family. I was raised in a kinship situation where I was placed. Now, those people were from the South. They hoodoo, but so was witchcraft, and so was a little bit of ceremonial magic, because what were they? Masons. Mason,
All right.
Starr,
Cool.
L, some other things going on. So again, it was
Yes.
around me. Then in school, when I visited my own family, they're super uber Christian, right? So my family, Michigan, in Detroit, Mississippi, via Oklahoma, via
Mhm.
slaves back in the 1700s. But anyway,
Mhm.
the thing is whatever you want it to be. But the whole family has dreams. The whole family can lay hands, can have visions. The whole family, most of them can see spirits. Come on now. Come on now.
Right. It's beautiful.
And then I'm from Michigan. So Scott Cunningham, hey, he's from Michigan. Go down the street less than 3 miles. Go straight down Conant,
Mhm.
down the Conant, and meet somebody who went to school with Scott Cunningham, and meet him and ask him to move the jar on that tall shelf and get my high John root.
See.
So
Lovely.
it is worse. daddy used to go there, the one who raised me. He used to go there for his herbal medicines, which was medicine, half of it was something else. We grew up around practitioners, and I'm going to use the word Philly because that is the word used for this ethnic group, because the person who practiced hillbilly magic at my festival told me it was, because I get consent from the groups that I refer to, and that as well, because that's in our family too. Okay, so then we've got Scott Cunningham was the first one, right? Really, because the first magical book was Lady Oop.
Yep, I remember her. I remember her book. I have her book.
Shawn Branch Library on 7 Mile Road, where the librarian used to live wherever I wanted, except one day I was like 9 or 10 years old and I had strayed out of the herbalism books and had strayed from the Scott Cunningham books, demonology, hierarchy, and she was like, oh, let me help you out, and just came through there, come on, baby, and just slid me back to where I needed. But when I got older, she slid that book along with the book to help me understand the depths. Librarians, you know what's up. You know what's up. So then at 13, I got my first tarot deck. I talked to a man who ran a shop called Ali. He was a Sikh, a baptized black Sikh, who owned a shop off of not far from 8 Mile. The service to everybody, Wiccan working for him, practicing bishop working for him, and a necromancer. Hello. Wow. So we got a lot going at the flea market.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got a lot going.
Yes.
Wow.
Now at this point, I'm reading Reva, Scott, and Aleister Crowley.
All right.
I'm reading Agrippa.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Right.
So we as you, because I used to play music, I was woodshedding at that point. Okay.
Yes.
I'm woodshedding. I'm really getting, going up to the Wayne State Library, getting books I had no business getting. Bookshop where those never seem to age, and watching Robert Thibodeau, Morton Downey Jr.
Oh my goodness.
Remember that show?
Yeah.
And what piqued my commitment, what piqued to really going hard in the palette was when he was on there. And I mean, no offense when I quote this man, what he says, what do they call it? Call it a core memory? I had a core memory, man, because I was watching him panel. Right before that, it had to be around Halloween. It had to be. Not when I said Halloween. And there was a witch on the panel in the show. This show came on. And then Robert Thibodeau was the guest. Okay, and he's a ceremonial, what he is, that's his business. And he's also the owner of the Mayflower Bookshop that has burned down a couple times. We're gonna leave that alone.
Okay.
So there's some super Christian fundamentalists on there. And I was going to Little Mount Calvary and getting in trouble at Sunday school saying, well, who said that? And why is there, oh, well, who made him? Well, who made all the stuff that gets you put out. And somebody was going off a devil that and all this. He said, I quote exactly, so something, your savior on a stick. I was done.
Oh I was like,
okay, he's going hard like this. I need to find out what this is about. I need to find out what this his whole chest. He said it with his whole chest. So I was like, I need to find out what is going on, that he is going hard, like, and that's when I learned, oh, who I didn't know in high school, she went to Carter. Reverend Carter ain't got no church. She worker. She's not working on. So I'm just saying. And that's when I discovered the Boston Tea Room. And that's when I discovered how segregated magic is, because you had to go through communities and have different faces. Because, W.E.B. Du Bois tells you, we ask on in each community, or what kind of bag they may come out of on you. Okay, I'm really dating myself saying that, but what a kind of bag, and you had to be ready. You had to, and the magics were so different, and the stuff that I didn't know was unusual. Because even though I was placed as foster, I still knew them, but I know everybody didn't go to Haiti once a year with parents, the ones who raised me, to go see that two sisters, one of whom is blind, to have a cup of tea first, and then the husband and wife go one by one in that back room with that one sister and get a reading. I didn't know everybody didn't do that. I didn't know that. I thought that was normal. I didn't know there were books in the basement that young people can't read things on them, and that was not normal. I didn't know that you get sent to church so you don't get in the wrong thing. So, and
What
the
an experience.
Goodwill Candle Shop, you walked through there, they had a greeting card that had cursed reading that.
Wow.
Girl, you can almost write a book on all of that.
Right. It's a funny thing. I have my teacup here, but it's not the Boston Tea Room. That's in the kitchen. I have their mug.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So what I would actually, that following up with that, because you went into so much details there, I think that's just brilliant. What I would like to find out was, now that I know cunning woman, could you kind of explain to us, what does that mean to you? Being a cunning woman.
Okay, so,
or even if you call yourself a witch still, or whatever it is, but as a cunning woman, I would love to hear that.
Okay, so I'm holding on to witch. I'm fighting for my life, holding on to that title witch. I'm holding.
Okay, good.
Because for what I am, and our language of who were brought here no longer survives.
Right.
Because language of the enslaver, which is now my language because I grew up in it.
Right.
But let's was lost. So we're going to use, but I'm also going to use cunning woman, because I know that as a cunning woman, I'm practicing herb craft.
Yes.
And I'm practicing magic. Hey, Scott Cunningham, how you doing? Yeah, shout out to you. And I know that's a controversial thing to say. A lot of people have come for Scott Cunningham for appropriation and everything else. It doesn't change what is actually good in that thing. Cheese, it gets old, but you cut the mold off, you cut the undesirable parts off, and you can still eat the cheese.
Absolutely.
Unless it's been at the frat house, in which case nobody wants it, and that's a whole other issue. But but when I'm a cunning, as I say, I'm a cunning woman, I do a lot of healing magic. I do a lot of herb crafting. I do help people get better. Now, whether that's on a physical level with the herbs and other things I use, because it's not just herbs. Whether I have to speak life and talk to the animate, because I'm an animate, an animist, with plant or something else. To get the job done, that's what we do. We get the job done.
Right.
I've studied neurology. I've studied all sorts of topics. I'm an initiated witch in a certain tradition. I also practice hoodoo, African American folk magic. And that's a distinction because they often intertwine.
They do, yeah.
I have practiced ceremonial magic. I don't traffic with demons, but I have when I was younger. It's kind of like a bad breakup. We don't talk about it. It's just a phase. We kind of leave it alone. I had a spiritually transmitted infection at one point, and it just went away. It's an STI of a different level.
Oh my God. But that's it.
I do. I'm there for my community if they need me. I try to offer some wisdom if I have it. I try to offer somebody to get if I have to. But I do a lot of work on myself. So that's my role. Some people are I'm a community keeper.
Oh, see, now you just led me into the next question, and that was to really talk about your work and community. So, you know, how are you engaging in that? What's your work within the community right now?
Well, an ornery stage, the pre-crone, if you will, where you become the crotchety old woman and don't want to help anybody, you know, of the development right now. But
I did.
but I have got to the point where I will offer assistance where people who are starting off. I often will because I've withdrawn for the most part. And there's a theory behind that too. You know how you have those fairy, the old witch or the wise woman is at the edge of the forest in a hut.
Yeah.
It's not because she can't afford anything else. She's just sick of everybody. It's because she needs some peace.
Yes.
Before she hits you in the head with a cauldron. So she's over there now. But seriously, I will help them if they're studying, if they're researching. I am no longer the person like, okay, well, let them. Sometimes it's like that. You're really, really doing, I hate saying doing the work, but if you're really engaged and you really are committed to your own spiritual health, that also means understanding that everything's interconnected. And if you let somebody else suffer without warning them, with you. So now if I see somebody heading toward a cult situation, I try to let them know. But everybody's not open to hearing what you have. Still young and they're all bright and sparkly. So I'm like, okay, listen.
Yeah, that's very true.
You know what? I want you to step back for a moment. Here, read this. Next thing you know, bone wits. We not even situation there. Next thing you know, it's cult evaluation form just flowing from your fingertips. Or ready for that, you engage them in conversation and you use allegorical kind of teaching, or you teach them by experience from your space. Remember, we couldn't stand those old people stories all the time because if you engage them in the story, they get the lesson. And I've been in it before, so I can talk about it.
Right. Wow. That's a whole nother conversation. That will have to be another conversation for sure.
Yeah. So
I also am involved in a community diversity committee.
Excellent.
I am also involved because I've helped put on festivals before, organize magical book fairs. I help people. I'm really good at my tentacles. They call me the Pagan here in Michigan. That's why I have tentacles and stuff. And I never knew about the other thing about tentacles until somebody ruined it for me, and I'm really feeling shocked. For me, it's the tentacles of being able to be around people like 6 degrees of Cthulhu with me. So I'm really good. Hi, Brenna. I'm really out and touch people and find their interest and let them see that they wanted to do something. They just didn't know they wanted. And helping to develop that confidence, give them that platform, give them that space they go and bloom and do what they need to do, even if they don't know what they want to do it. Because I said so. No, I'm just saying.
You give them opportunity.
Yeah. That's good though. That's good because you're giving the best that you can, and it kind of goes into the next question is how is magic part of your lifestyle? Like, I mean, on a daily basis or anything like that.
Okay, so one of the things is I don't get too much into my personal practice because obviously there's a whole lot of people who don't know how to act, and we don't want to have to, the skits. But didn't I say earlier when we were trying to get everything together, there was a fox across the street?
Yes, you did.
It was going to be
something here. Yeah.
Because I felt it was going to be some mess, and I was like, it's going to be some mess. And you see what happened?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do it because usually Coyote comes from me. Oh, why did I say your name? Usually something else comes, and I'm like, see, I knew, I knew, and that's one of the things, being able to know in my specific mine, what different animals mean to me when I see them.
Right.
That's like knowing what I need to do, if I need to print in the morning, if I need to spell in the morning, if I feel like I need to do a scan, do I need to sweep my stoop? Oh, and if you're watching on my page, let me take a moment. What you left in front of my step, you need to do better. Work harder.
Oh my goodness. Okay. All right.
Well done.
Do better.
So let me just ask you. This is I like that we're keeping it real. Just saying, we're being very open about this.
Yeah.
Having said that, I'm curious to know what other projects do you have? What's coming down the line? What are you working on right now?
Well, now let me think. Do I have anything in front of me or near me? I don't always bring stuff out. I might not have it. Oh, look at that. Look how convenient that was.
Look at you.
Okay, so
thank you.
This is my little deck. This is my little deck. It's the watch me butcher it. The Minière de Sorcellerie bag. Okay. And this is the rose edition. It comes in a tin container. Cats. Now look, you people are looking at you. Okay, the control. Little tin container is large enough to carry spell and spell cards. These are not oracles. Beautiful. This is a deck based on folklore. So
beautiful.
That's my fun little project. I have a book out, The Magical Cottagecore Life, the quick recipe book. It's on Amazon.
Excellent.
Nice.
I zines out on MagCloud under my name. So there was an Adventist. There were some things there. I have a podcast, My Magical Cottagecore Life.
Excellent.
And I do teach. I teach classes.
So we're going to have to put the links to all of this in the show notes so that everybody can grab that information. And I, for one, have to come after that deck because I'm a cartomancer. That's my world. That's the world. That's the river I swim in. So I'll have to come after that deck for sure.
Yep, me too. And I guess what we would
now coming out later this year.
Oh, they're coming out. So they're not out as yet. Okay, all right.
Okay.
Okay. So what are some of the festivals and stuff that you're doing this year, or that's coming up? You can get people to kind of go to some of that.
Well, right now I'm doing like simultaneously. I'm here and there at the same time somehow.
Oh,
I have a class coming up on magic.
Right. Oh, right. I understand what you mean. On WitchCon, yes. There you go. Okay.
And I will be assisting. I will be assisting with Pagan in Metro Detroit this summer. I did it last year
Awesome.
because it hadn't been done for a while. Affiliated with Pagan Pride Project. And y'all watching for Pagan Pride Project. How you doing, Brian? I'm not affiliated with you, but I got number love for you. For you, I got number love. Okay. I'm petty. Okay, so but this year, her name is Janet Callahan. So she has Spiral Moon TV and a whole 9 classes on her little program thing. As soon as we get it recorded, I will also be running Here to Unnamed thing with it. I will not name one consulting role only privately. There is something planned. I'm just going to tell you right now, something happening this summer, and it's under my name. I got to be cool about initiations. I got to be cool. I got to be cool.
Excellent. I like the anticipation.
Yeah.
And in October, I run the Michigan Witches Bazaar. That is a charity event. It is a not-for-profit event, a non-profit event, and we service. We're not sustained by ourselves. We help contribute to 3 Michigan charities: the Michigan Pagan Scholarship, which gives $500 scholarship for college. We have the Wolf Run Wildlife Sanctuary in Remus, Michigan. See, I had to take a breath. And we also help Pagans in Need food pantry throughout the state. You do not have to be pagan to get assistance. It is an open food pantry where people a prayer before they can get food. They can just ask for food. I am also affiliated its program, Toys for Yule, as far as a person with her on that. I used to do that. And if my health lets me do it, I will probably that my husband and myself used to run every year, and that was the Good Witch Bafana's program for Yule. And we used to do around Yule, but I'm tired. So I can't always do those things. I just had a heart procedure a few years ago, so I got to calm it down.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Yeah,
I'm not 27.
No.
And I'm retired. So they just won't let me leave. They drag me back. I'm trying to leave. I'm trying to leave. I wanted to come to New York City.
Drag your butt back. That's all.
Come and come.
All right. Okay.
Well, we were streaming. We were scrolling your information on the site, and I'm going to scroll it again on our page here, so people know how to contact you. But is there a preferred area? Where should people find you?
I would prefer you to me either through DetroitConjure@gmail.com or Michigan Witches Ball at gmail.com. Actually pay attention to those. If you message me on my secret sites, I may or may not respond because I don't want everybody to know my secrets. Keep my life very compartmentalized as far as I have different audiences that like different things from me. That's why I have a TikTok clapper, because there's different demographics involved.
Excellent.
All right.
Well done.
What we can do is when we are finished with, we can put it on the YouTube and everything, all the information that you want us to put out there for people to be able to reach you. So that's awesome. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
so we cannot wait to have you back for our Witchy World panel on April 21st. Racism within our community, the feedback that we got. And we want to thank you so much. This was so enjoyable, right, Rhonda?
Yeah, truly.
This was so enjoyable having you here and listening to the stories. It's like a tale that's going on, you know what I mean? So it's kind of cool. Really nice.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for really persistent to make the group tonight. We really appreciate that. We really do appreciate that. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you back for the panel on the
Yes.
21st.
You first. Yes.
Thanks so much.
I'll see you then.
Alrighty. We'll see you
All righty.
then.
Take care.
So
Thank
a
you.
quick message from our sponsor.
All right. That was so
So
nice and refreshing with Kenya, right? Okay.
there's so many
Yes.
more things to talk about, just to say.
Yeah. Yeah. So we are gonna pull that one card from our decks and give you like a summary of the astrology Saturn return that we just
Yeah.
did for you guys earlier, and kind of give you a rundown on it. Okay. So
I
let's do
just
that.
I love the fact that we're talking Saturn return. And yet again, whilst I'm shuffling my cards and I'm working with just the Rider-Waite Smith tonight, I shouldn't say just the, but
Uh-huh.
I'm working with Pamela Coleman Smith's artwork here. And I had a jumper, yet again, a card that jumped out of the deck as I was shuffling based on the question. And here I have what? The Nine of Wands. The Nine of Wands, this
Oh my
figure
gosh.
who
Oh my
is Leo
gosh.
with the
Yeah.
bandage around his head, having come through. This is well, it's a fire. It's fire, but he's been through it,
He got beat
kind of
down and torn
clubbed.
up and he came through.
Exactly. Exactly. The side eye waiting, looking to see what else is coming his way. What else is going to have to deal with. I just love that the cards just,
Yeah.
it's no joke. Saturn returns are challenging. And this is
Yeah,
a
they are.
period where, the person's been through it a bit. They have learned a lot. They have learned quite a bit, which is also what we come through with, at least with that by the time we hit that second one, especially. We've learned, and we can, as you say, as we were speaking about earlier, we can look back on the lessons we learned and use that to help influence us. But yeah, I just like that this Nine of Wands had to pop out looking at the
Yeah.
question of
Yeah.
Saturn return and how it
Oh my
how it
goodness.
impacts
We
us.
always have these are really appropriate cards that come out. Mine was
Yeah.
not a jumper, but it was the very first card after I
Wow.
shuffled, and I'm not great at shuffling. Okay. So I kind of shuffle the best I can and then I pull it out, whatever
Hmm.
it is. And this is the 10 of Swords. And
Wow.
if you look at it, the owl represents wisdom.
We shift the
Okay.
card over the other way. There we
Okay,
go.
there we go.
Yeah.
Okay. And cover some of the glare a bit. The
Hmm.
owl represents wisdom. The 9 swords, and if you look on the floor, the person is there with all the swords in their back and holding them down like if they're stuck. And remember, we talked about in certain, which one was it? If anyone that's going through a return right now, this is what they kind of feel like. They can't get out. But then on the left of it, you will see like one sword with a purple ribbon all wrapped around it and a purple flower.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, all of that represents, in other words, you may feel like you're stuck, but you will find a way out of it if you persevere. If you just say to yourself, I am going to make it through whatever all this that's coming at me. And yes,
Yeah.
it's coming from the back and it's holding me down, but I'm going to take responsibility for my accountability for my actions and everything else, and I will work myself through this. And I
Yes.
will
Yeah.
make the way. And the wisdom that you gain as you come out of it,
Yes.
the
It's
wisdom, the
so
everything
important.
else. And as much as the swords are in their back, it's almost like if there's no blood, there's no anything like that. It's just look at me. It's just there, and I'm gonna just say you gotta move. I'm gonna come through no matter what.
That's right.
Like when I'm driving and you overhear me talking and I'm going, you better get out of the way.
Yes. I'm coming
I'm
through.
coming through. You better
I'm
get out of the
coming through. And it's a 10. I love the fact that we both have these numbers that are 9, that last
10.
card
Yes.
in the rung,
Yes.
and the 10 that says you've reached it. You've done that. This is it. This
Yep.
is as far as it goes. You're
Yep. Yep.
leveling up now. You are
Yeah.
going to that next rung. That is a huge thing.
Yes, it
Um,
is.
we are at the top of the hour, so we kind of went
Yes. Yes. Yes.
overtime, but I
Yes.
do want to say we have before we bid you all adieu, before we sign off for the night, I want to introduce you to our guest for next week. We have with us Erica Lieberman. Hold
Yes, she's
one
awesome.
second. So I want to thank you all for joining us tonight. I really
Yes,
appreciate it, Starr. It's a great another great week for me. So
yes, yes, yes. And we really enjoyed this. So we want to wish you all many happy returns, right?
yes, yes, indeed. Have a great week, everyone. We'll see you
Yes.
next
Okay.
Friday.
Yes. Thank